We want to welcome Michelle back. And I would like Michelle, hey Phil, oh good, see people are jumping on. I would love Michelle to share with me, with a group, sorry, a couple of the things that you shared with me last night as to why you've decided to come back into the coaching program and the participation, because I think it's pretty strong, right? That someone's there, they leave, and then they come back.
So just before, Michelle, not to interrupt you, but just to preface, when you guys enter, when new agents come into our market center, you're automatically part of the coaching program, right? Whether people plug in or not, you're part of it, right? And once you have paid in a certain amount of company dollar to the market center, whether that takes you 6 months or a year and a half, you have the ability to, graduate and move on, right? You're at the end of what the market center is paid for. And then you can go on to whatever type of coaching you may or may not want, right? Whether that's MAPS, one-on-one, there's lots of different organizations that has it, but we offer agents to be a part of what we have here for a small amount of money. And Michelle at first had said, I'm good, and then, well, segue that into, you've been a couple of weeks on your own without their camaraderie here.
I don't know. How long has it been, Michelle?
Probably a month and a half, maybe a couple months. I don't know. I get Matt sent me that email and we talked like a couple months ago. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, one of the things that I really value about the coaching program is the fact that we can lean on each other, and that we have two very experienced, agents that can pretty much answer any question. And if not, we can talk about it as a group. And I like to be able to also think that I can bring value to those who are new agents to the office as well. And I was able to put together a deal recently that allowed me to kind of readjust my budget that I could reinvest back into the coaching program, because I think it's worth that investment for not only my education and my growth as an agent, and just also because I'm also an investor, and I know a lot of my business is focused around the investment side, but there's a lot of overlap between the two where I think there's value for each side, that as far as like lead gen and talking to sellers and scripts and things like that. But I just, more than anything, like the value that we can kind of mastermind together, help each other out, and provide value for one another. And that's one of the main reasons I missed it, when I was gone. And I just want to be able to bring that back as I join back into the coaching group. So don't know if that helps or not.
And
Great.
To give a big shout out to Michelle for that first listing I had, and Sharon already knows this. I went into analysis paralysis and I called her and she jumped right in. It came out and helped me stop overanalyzing the situation.
It was fun, yeah. And look at that, you're being the superhero agent for your client.
Awesome. Okay, so who was at the meeting on Tuesday of this week?
The stakeholders meeting.
Yeah? Half?
I was there.
All right, so it was recorded. If you did not, I highly encourage you to. One of the things that Rob spoke about among market stats and market share and things was the importance of staying connected to people in your database on a regular basis to provide value, not just when people are looking to buy or to sell, right? Yeah. So when they're not transacting, right? Because, if people don't hear from you and all of a sudden they put on Facebook that they're looking to move and you're chiming in and you look like that ambulance chaser. You sound like that person that's only interested in them because you have dollar signs. They have dollar signs floating above them. So we talk about adding value, right? And we talk about the importance of database, and if you have a database set up that you regularly communicate, you should be able to get 7 to 10% return on it. In other words, if you have 100 people in a database, you should be able to get 7 to 10 transactions out of there. what we don't necessarily always talk about is the fact that it's not just set it and forget it. You can't just put your database together and then expect to get money out of it, right? And opportunities out of it. Because if you're not sending something to the database, touching the database, communicating with the database, it's pretty much worthless, right? It's just a spreadsheet of people. So
Can I interrupt?
yeah, of course.
One of the things,
You're not interrupting, you're adding to.
oh, thank you. May I add something? Go back, and if you didn't go to the stakeholders meeting, or if you did, I know online it was hard to see because I should go take a picture of it if it's still up there. Anyway, he was drawing a graph about how to create value at different levels, right? Like Zillow will say, do you want to buy a house? And if you say no, they're like, well, would you like to have recommendations for service providers for your plumbing and, you know, whatever? And if you say no, well, would you like to just know the stats of your area, right? They just keep providing value to you as a way to keep in touch with you until you decide to transact, right? Because it's not if, it's when. So in part of that whole presentation that Rob was giving, it showed like a bell curve, right? Which is basic economics of a commodity. And because the market has been doing so well for many years, I mean, since the crash, it just keeps going up. We are in this glut of agents. There are tons of real estate agents. And it takes a lot of people a year or two to even get licensed. So by the time the market starts to correct, there's still going to be a lot of agents flooding into the market because they don't know that the market's starting to go down, right? They're not boots on the ground. So it's so imperative for all of us to float to the top. We need to stick out in our people's minds because everybody on their block is probably trying to get a license, or somebody's kid or somebody's aunt. Or I was listening to a comedy channel on XM radio yesterday, and they were talking about Spirit Airlines. Is there anybody on the plane who has tried to get their real estate license? Or I don't remember, I can't do the punchline right now, but I laughed because it's like, yeah, everybody's freaking trying to get their license.
And that should not scare you.
No.
Because if you have, even if your sphere of influence, your database has another real estate agent that overlaps the people that you know, if you're consistently providing value and touching them in some sort of way, you're going to be protected. You're building what we call a moat around your database. Who has a database? You should all raise your hand. Trick question. Who has identified the people in that database that are VIPs? A few of you.
How have you identified them?
Yeah, what do I mean by that? Like, what would be a VIP?
Referrals?
Okay.
Someone who's giving you a referral? Okay.
Past clients, buyers, people that you have good relationships that are almost like hot.
So if I asked you to email me a quick list of all your VIPs, how quickly could you do it?
Very quickly, you pull it up by the tag.
Aha, that's what I was getting at.
So these are people that are in your database and have a tag that you can easily search for to be able to focus on or see a short list of those people.
Correct.
Right, because we can all say we can identify our VIPs, but if Rob came in here and said, dude, I've got a truck full of stuff outside of free Yeti tumblers, one for every one of your VIP proof in the next 5 minutes of how many or would you start freaking out trying to put a list together? Right?
You search by the tag. As long as it's tagged, you can search it within a minute.
So Kim gets it, and Kim has this done. Who else? And it's okay. There's no judgment. Who, by show of hands, who's someone that would have to work on this a little bit, put some thought into it, and that's okay.
That's the point of why we're having the conversation.
Okay. So does everyone understand the importance of having VIPs? And when I say VIPs, a few people said clients. past client, Doug said past clients, whatever. Let me just point out, and I've said this numerous times, and I'm going to continue to say this because I think it's worth noting. My number one referrer in my database, I've never helped them buy or sell a home. Right? This is someone who's close to me who I've never helped buy or sell a home, but they single-handedly have referred me millions of dollars in business.
They advocate for you.
So are they a VIP?
Yes.
Absolutely. Would I lose my shit if they were gonna sell with someone else? Sure, but I would still consider them a VIP because they've given me business and they consistently refer me and support my business, okay? So when you're looking at your list of people, it's not just past clients, it's not just people that are on your hot list right now. Just remember that. You okay?
Yeah, napkin or something?
No, I'm okay, but I think I just burned all of the skin off of my tongue
Wow.
because this holds stuff really hot.
So FYI, Yetis do their job and keep liquids hot and cold. So when you take a swig back, be careful. Hopefully we don't have to take her to the emergency room.
Yeah, no, but.
All right, so exercise time. I want you guys to do, to start this now, and I want you to complete it and to have this set aside. Ideally, it's a spreadsheet or something, but if you've got to just take out a clean sheet of paper and write this down, I want you to do this with me. It's easy for Sharon and I to say list of past clients because we've been doing this for a while. Some of you have lists of past clients, and that's awesome. But I want all of you to do this. I want you to make a list of all the people you've ever showed a house to, gone on a buyer consultation with, a listing consultation with, or even if you didn't win it,
Right.
even if they decided to rent, I want all the people that have been, you've gone on an appointment with that have been, or talked to about going on an appointment, right?
Yeah.
So
Or
the
referred.
the people that you essentially set an appointment with in some way, whether it was Zoom, in person, whatever. I want you to make a list of those people
For what, the past year?
since you've been in this business.
If you can remember them.
And if you've been in this business for a while and you don't have this, this is your opportunity to do it. Because I'll guarantee you in 3 years, it's not fun to go back and try to do this. It's much easier to do it.
Do you want just names or?
I don't care. It's for you.
Okay.
So I'm not auditing this. Sharon's not auditing this, but I want you to have the names of the people.
So let's take 2 minutes, brainstorm. We'll just be quiet. Make a list.
And again, they don't have to.
Whatever you.
No,
want.
yeah, look at whatever you have, but if you don't have this, start this list.
Yep. Yeah, you can pop open your computers, do whatever you need to do.
Very
The water cooler, you know, I just put that in there. It wasn't even, this is so hot, I'll swallow. You just like,
spit it out.
I'm opening my mouth.
Maybe you get promised to do this later. You can just nod. You don't have to. You probably already have this.
Sorry, Matt, I'm driving. I cannot participate.
No, knowing you probably already have this. If not, you're gonna do it after. You're
Yeah,
gonna do it later.
they make voice recorders. You can do it by voice.
Not while she's driving. Terry just joined us. We're putting together a list or starting a list of all the people that you've gone on an appointment with or closed the transaction with or in the process of looking any source of business that went beyond just a phone call or a lead, right? These are people that you got in discussions about buying or selling, even if it hasn't come to fruition yet.
Hey, Matt,
Great. Yep.
what can, excuse me, would you include somebody that you met at an open house
Did you go on an
or
appointment?
showing a house? No.
No.
So not just
content.
leads. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, if you have anyone hot to trot that's on the list that you met at open house, that's fine to put them on there. The next stage will fill in the gap for that, but. How many people do a few of you have on this list? Who's got more than 5? Who's got more than 10? Okay. Give me 30 more seconds. That's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you guys to put couples individually in command, but I want you to consider them together.
Oh, okay.
Unless they're getting a divorce and you're helping them each buy or sell a house separately. Oh, in the command, but not in the rest. Like, I don't want 2 people that are buying a house together. I should say. Okay, first of all, is there anybody on this list that you might, if you're honest with yourself, question, say, well, I don't know what they're doing right now. I haven't talked to them in a little bit.
Yes.
Good. Thank you for being honest.
I'm gonna say no because I started with people that are in my command.
All right. That's the first question. Are all these people, especially the ones that you haven't really talked to as of recently, if a question like goes off in your head, like, I wonder what they're doing. Maybe I should touch base with them. Absolutely. Do it as soon as this is done. Here's the next step. And you guys continue this, please, after this call. This is something that I don't want you to just rip it out of your notebook and throw it away. I want you to continue to work on this and give some thought to this of what we're getting to. I want you to now, right next to them, all those people that you've put on that list. How did you come in contact with them? And I want you to dig deep in this, okay? If it's, you met at an open house, awesome. Where was that open house at? It was in Novi, no, in parentheses, Novi. If they were a referral, who were they referred by? Right? If they were a high school friend, great, write that, high school friend. Where did you reconnect? Phone call, Facebook, whatever. Be very, very specific about next to every one of these people. And if any of them are drawing blanks to you, you got to go back and understand this. All right, how's it coming? Probably still have a few blanks. Were any of these challenging to come up with, or did they come easily?
Meaning
Meaning, Hope, did you have, with all the people that you have, did you have any trouble recalling whereabouts you connected with them, or how, or who you referred them to you? No? Okay. Give me, Hope, while you're unmuted, I don't need names, just give me a few examples of people on that list and how they were referred to you. What's the second column? Just read some of those and go down the list.
Julie was social spear through text, but it's a family member. I announced my transition to Keller.
Got it.
Antoine was a referral through high school.
Wait. Just, okay, this is the purpose of this. When you say referral from high school, referral from who?
His girlfriend.
Okay,
So
so
write her
right to
name
his
down.
girlfriend.
Okay. Okay.
Next
His-
one.
His mom was a referral.
Okay. What? Do you have the mom's name written down?
Mrs. Winters.
Okay, all right.
Luana another referral. Majority are referrals.
Yeah.
That was through a family member. She worked with my family member.
And you have that person, that family member's name written down.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I don't. No. I will. And Ray was through my mailers. His brother referred me. He got the mailer and referred. So I got a buyer.
Sorry, I know I'm beating you up on this. Is the brother's name on that list?
I don't remember it, but
The brother is the one who got a mailer and referred you. Okay, fine. I want the brother's name on that list.
okay. And I see what you're doing now. Okay. Dow baby. Her real name is Donna, childhood friend, and it was social media. And
Okay.
I have, but if you want me to keep going, I will.
No, that's okay. It's okay. Andrea, give me 2.
Tamika, she actually was a wrong number. And she mentioned that she needed to move. So I told her I was a realtor and I could help her.
Right. Unless you want to spend time lead genning wrong numbers on purpose. I don't know how to get more of those, but all right, give me another one.
Right. And then Al Sharif, Mr. Al Sharif is my neighbor. He came to me and was telling me he was getting his license, and he's also a real estate investor. So I've been working with him to find him investment properties and help him study for his exam.
Okay, awesome. Michelle, give me the 2 most random ones on your list.
Most random ones. I had Sandra was a referral from a church friend.
Okay, and that church friend's name's on that list, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is that
And
church
then
friend in your database?
What's that?
Is that church friend in your database?
Yes, she is.
Okay, good. Give me one more.
She's part of my sphere. And then another one was just a lead gen. That was an investment lead. So
Okay, specifically, you were expecting, you were
cold
calling,
cold calling.
you were cold calling. A specific area or focus?
Its specific focus was a tax delinquent lien.
Okay,
Write that
as
down.
long as you know what it is. I don't.
Yeah. That's what they're tagged. Yeah, they're tagged like that in command.
Good. Tammy Lowry, can you unmute yourself? I know your camera's not working.
Yes, okay, so I have a database. I have mine divided as for my sphere of influence, I have family, friends, past clients, and contacts. And so I have a huge list of contacts that I've met either at open houses or I've gotten Zillow leads from lenders that they've sent me. So what you've just reminded me of is that I need to reach out to these people on this contact list. So.
Yeah. Tammy, what was your most recent closing?
My recent closing was a friend.
Okay. And how did that friend know to contact you about real estate? I know that seems
So I coach figure skating also. So everybody knows that I do real estate at figure skating. So they follow me on Facebook. They're my friend on my personal page, on my other page, so they know I do it. So that's
Okay.
how they knew to contact me.
Okay. So I want in your list, that name of that last closing, next to it, I want figure skating community. I want you to write that down.
Okay.
All right. Save this. Terry, give me 2 randos from your list.
I have one that was from an open house in Royal Oak that I did over a year ago.
Yep.
They actually reached back out to me to start looking again.
Okay.
And then I've got another one that was a referral from a friend that our kids also go to school together, but they also bought and sold from me. So that's another one.
Got it. And those friends that referred you to them, those people are on that, their names are on that list.
Yeah, because they also bought and sold with me. So
Wonderful. Okay. So yeah, so I want to show you something. and that I've done. And the reason we're doing it this way is because I recognize the fact that not all of you guys have, you know, hundreds of past transactions. But what you do have is lists of people that that you're working with or that you've connected with, which is what I want, the purpose of this, right? So Sharon, myself, a lot of agents very purposefully track where their business comes from, right? Closed business. You guys are not necessarily doing closed business, but you're doing opportunities. Where are your opportunities coming? Why do you think that I'm getting this granular? Why we're asking you to really get specific with these sources of opportunities?
So we can really focus on those, double down on them, and maximize them through, you know, promoting or marketing or reaching out on Facebook, stuff like that.
You nailed it.
Targeting.
Who else?
Targeting them more.
Targeting them more. Okay, I like that. Tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that.
If I'm getting it just as they always say, your sphere, if that's where you're getting it, then you want to make sure you're connecting more with those people that have referred you. You want to make sure you're providing value where through different, if I'm getting it from my daughter's, you know, clubs or whatever, I want to make sure that I'm providing value there or having those conversations or making sure that they get the info they need.
Absolutely. You guys familiar with the term called diminishing return? Diminishing return basically means that when you contribute something to something that has a certain amount of output, right? And it will continue to give that output until it starts to level out or decline, right? So think about the people that are in your database that have given you referrals and connected you with people. If you can say honestly that you've absolutely maximized the amount that you're going to get from them, right? They're worth pouring more into. Does that make sense? So does everyone see the screen that I'm sharing with you? This is a breakdown, and I'm not a spreadsheet dude. This was surprisingly easy to do because I track my stuff.
Yeah.
I track my stuff so I don't have to go. You never, if you ask me, what did you produce and what did you close last April? What did you close in August? What did you close 3 years ago? I don't have to go and pull a report. It's there because I track it as I go. And I suggest you guys do the same. So going back into 2016, I have all my deals, right? Buy side, sell side, days on market, average price. I track all of this. And then this, where did they come from? Where was the lead source? Where did they come from? And you can see I started doing this little nifty little pie graph that shows a percentage because I'm a visual person of where a breakdown of where these people came from. Now, one thing that I will tell you, when I had a team, we at some point were spending a significant amount of money on Zillow leads. I'll admit, we were doing it. And we felt that we were winning because we were busy. Because leads were coming in, we were going on appointments, we were busy, but we weren't necessarily holding our dollars accountable. Meaning that if I look back on 2017, if I spent 50% of my marketing budget on Zillow, but it only equated to 5% of our overall closings, does that make a lot of sense? It didn't. And that light bulb didn't go off until I analyzed this. I said, all right, so if I was closing 2018, 29% of my business from referrals, 14% from my sphere, 21% from repeat, 7% from past client. What the hell am I doing spending money on different things? Why don't I spend time and money focusing on these? That's a good question. It was classified.
Can you repeat the data you just quoted about the spend that you did on Zillow and the return?
Well, let me just go back to 2020. Yeah. Well, what I said about Zillow was I was spending a disproportionate amount of time and money on a lead source that did not give me a return that other ones gave me that were free or a lot less expensive. Okay? I was not truly looking at where my closed business was coming from and then figuring out how to do more with that. Right? I was chasing a shiny object here. Oh, maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try that. In 2020, 13.3% of my business came from open houses. 13.3% came from agent referrals. 46.7% came from referrals. 26.7% came from Sphere. So if you were to look at that, if someone was to coach me, say, what's your business plan look like, Matt? How are you going to get more business from referrals, more business from your Sphere? How are you going to host open houses? If so, where? What price point are you targeting? Right? So a few of you said you had open house business. I want to know where was that? Because not all open houses are created equal. Do you have an open house? Do you have an area that you'd like to get more business from? Where you feel comfortable, you know the area, what price points? Be strategic.
Because, you know, you look at this and a pie, it's only 100%, right? So if you're going to increase one, you're going to decrease the other. And so those are the strategic decisions you need to make, right? If Matt decides, I don't want to do open houses ever again, well, what's he going to do to pour more into agent referrals to make up for that? Or pour more into Sphere so his referrals go up, right? You can't know all those things around in your mind if you don't know where you're at and where you're starting. So he has these great percentages, and I wish that I had them, but I don't. But you guys, just with the little list that you already made and the classifications that you gave it, right? Whether it was a Sphere, referral, whatever, count up your totals real quick. How many were referral? How many were Sphere? How many were open houses? Whatever. Count it up. And then divide that by the total number of leads you have. And let's come up with your own little percentages. Let's see where your business is coming from, or at least your activity, right? Because if you're new and you don't have closings yet, or very many, your activity, where's the bulk of your results coming from?
So has anyone heard the reference to the 3 or 4 pillars of lead gen? Terry's kind of nodding her head. Terry, give me your best shot.
Well, I guess I'm thinking of it as the table,
The stool?
analogy. Yeah, where you have 3 pillars, they come from somewhere to hold everything in place. But if you're not working one of your pillars, I don't remember what the 3 pillars are, but if you're not working one of your pillars, now your table, your chair is going to fall over because it's not balanced.
You're absolutely right, and Terry. And there's no right or wrong of what those pillars are. But the general premise is that think about your lead gen, your opportunities should come from ideally three sources, right? And for most people, it's sphere of influence, repeat referral, and then maybe open houses, or maybe farming, or maybe whatever, some sort of third. But the point is, imagine sitting on a chair that had one post, right? It'd be like sitting on a, you're balancing, it's really hard. And if something happens to that one, you're on the ground, right? You fall on the ground. What happens when you add another one? It's a little bit more stable, right? But it's still really unbalanced. And if one of those came out, you're probably going to fall on your butt. What happens when you get 3? It's a tripod. It's a little bit more stable, right? And then what happens when you need 4, 5, 6? It's overkill, right? The purpose, the reason is that if you're focusing your lead gen activities on 5 or 6 different things, you're not specializing, you're not mastering one, right? So on the other hand, basically what I'm saying is all of your business shouldn't come from just one avenue, but at the same time, you can't be so random where you're chasing 6 or 7 rabbits. So this little exercise should get your mind thinking, all right, where have I gotten the most opportunities so far? How do I get more from those, right? And then what opportunities do I have to grow a second and a third pillar or leg?
All right, Megan has her totals.
Okay, Megan, share with us, and you speak up, so make sure everyone on screen can hear.
Okay.
agent referrals, 10%.
So when you say agent refer, so Megan just said agent referrals, 10%. I've got agent referrals too. What do you mean by that?
So I had a random one come in from an agent in Jackson.
Okay, so an out of area agent that was referring business.
Then another one, this is a weird one. I showed a house for one of our agents.
Yep.
And then that client that I showed ended up having his friends call me, and so then I helped them.
Okay.
So I didn't steal the actual.
Okay. Got it.
Referral, like from people I know or past clients, 42%. Sphere of influence, 26%. Open house, 16%, and a sign call, 6%.
So what, that's awesome. I love that. And I hope you build upon this to better understand where your sources of business come from. What is the difference between sphere of influence and referral, guys? I'll give you my definition, but I'm just curious.
Well, isn't your sphere of influence those people that know, like, and trust you, and then referrals are coming from people they may not really know you, but you either talk to them or you gave them a card, and they say, "Oh yeah, here's this lady who does real estate."
Exactly. That's exactly how I would classify it. If someone is in my database, or I'm friends with on Facebook, or I go to church with them and they reach out to me, right? They're in my sphere of influence. Now, if one of those same people though says, "Hey, I have a cousin and I don't know that cousin, I've never met that cousin, I'm not connected to that cousin," I would call that a referral, right? They're one in the same in terms of how you get them. It's just a matter of doing it, right?
So like my
The sphere is
daycare
in the
lady,
room.
daycare lady should not be a referral. She should actually be SOI.
So one of the people that you helped buy or sell a house or talked about it was the person who runs your child's daycare.
Her daughter.
Her daughter. Did you know her daughter? Is she in your database? So it's really probably a referral.
Right. Okay.
Your daycare person is your SOI.
Right.
And
But the
she
actual
referred her
person
daughter
is-
to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Does anybody have any that they don't, that they'd like to talk through? To
I
understand?
figured mine out, I think.
I'm
My
sorry?
sphere, I said I figured mine out, I think.
Okay.
Sphere was 70%, referral was 10%, agent was 10%, and open house was 10%.
Awesome. So, Tammy, do you want to get business from any sources that aren't on that list of 4?
I'd like more referrals, and not just from my sphere, but also from lenders and other sources.
Okay.
I haven't really been that successful with open houses, getting too many, I guess, business from it. I get business, but no closed business.
Okay.
I'm getting some business from the listings that I'm doing.
Yep.
So that's where I'm really hoping to get more leads.
Yep. And business, yeah, those listings will get business, right?
Mhm.
Calls and, just when I have one of mine that says Zillow. It's not because I bought a Zillow lead. It's that they called me off of Zillow. So it's not really a signed call. It's an online lead that called specifically to talk to the listing agent. So I still classified it as Zillow.
So
You said 70% of your business was sphere of influence.
Yes.
How tapped out do you feel that you are with that?
I've not really tapped into it at all. I still don't have command set up where
Okay.
I don't send anything to any of them. So
So-
I need to really tap into it more, because I
Okay.
think there's a huge, there's huge possibilities there with my sphere that I'm not tapping into.
I would absolutely agree. And if you recognize that, and I appreciate you being honest, that 70% of your opportunities thus far have come from people in your sphere of influence, and that you can honestly say that you have not really tapped into it. Imagine what would happen if you were purposeful about it each and every day.
Exactly. So that's where I need a little inspiration here.
And
Push.
10% of your business came from referrals, which I probably safe to say, if you're not working your sphere, you're probably not also asking for those referrals from those people in your sphere. If you were to do that, how do you think that could potentially grow?
I think very well. So
Kind of a
now a
loaded.
couple of my sphere you know, there was one of them that was a referral. It was her daughter, but yet her daughter is part of my sphere too. So, you know, yeah, I need to tap in, definitely.
Does anybody else feel the same way?
Or does anybody else have their numbers?
Or does this resonate a little bit?
It does. I have a question though.
Yeah, Pope.
So okay, how do I want to put this? So I use social media a lot, and it is comprised of my sphere. But they didn't know that I sold real estate until they saw me on social media. How would you classify that particular lead or that particular?
If it's someone that is in my sphere of influence, and the way, if I was to bump into someone in the parking lot and I knew them, even if I didn't know their last name or I kind of forgot, but I met them somewhere, they knew who I was, they're my sphere of influence, right? Are all my sphere of influence in my database? No, they should be. Well, oftentimes I realize they're not when I come across them or see their profile or see something that I'm like, ooh, I would have put that person in, right? So your sphere of influence for most people is much, much larger than you realize it is. If they don't know you do real estate, you know, they've got to learn that you do real estate somehow. You know, for some of you, it'll maybe because you're posting things online. For some of you, because you're reaching out to them, telling them that you do real estate. For some of them, and these where the strong referrals come in, is that when you reach out to them, you say you do real estate and you say, who do you know that would like to buy or sell? Right? It's actually asking. I've had the mistake or made the mistake. I didn't purposely make a mistake, but I felt that I've made a mistake when I've connected with people that are in my sphere of influence that told me that they didn't refer someone because they thought that I was doing great with business, that I didn't need or want referrals.
Yep.
I mean, that seems like, but does it make sense? For all these agents that are out there promoting that they're absolutely killing it, that they're working 30 hours a day, can you see how someone from the outside might think, oh, I don't need to support them, I'll support this person, right? Because again, we talked about the fact that most people know a couple of real estate agents, right? And you want to support, you want your friends to support, but are you putting out an image that's not saying I want, appreciate, and I'm grateful for your opportunities? Does that make sense? Can you honestly say for the people that have referred you, you looked at, you can look and say, I said to that person who referred me, do you have anybody to refer? Most of my referrals just come from people that I didn't ask for. But if I'm honest with myself, how many more could come if I was actually asking for them? And like we talked about earlier today before we came on this call, are you showing gratitude for the people that are referring you business? And I don't necessarily mean closed business. I mean, did you write a handwritten thank you note? Did you stop by? Did you send someone flowers, an edible arrangement, a $5 Starbucks gift card, a Yeti cooler, or a koozie, or even just a simple text saying thank you? Not for referring a closed transaction, but for just referring or just rewarding the action. The action.
Asking
so
for a referral.
So Sharon this morning ran around and was doing some pop buys. And Sharon, talked about that for a second.
Okay, so
who and why and what was the?
I decided 100 people. They're in my sphere. They're people that live around here locally. They're also past clients. I guess I just was inspired by seeing a lot of those things happening here. Like Matt was doing them, other people were doing them, Kelly Belcher does them all the time. And I'm like, why am I not doing this, right? So it's something little, right? It's a $1 or a $2 bottle of barbecue sauce. It's a silicone brush, no big deal. But the tag on the outside basically says, keep your friends from getting grilled this season and serve them up to a professional. Please send me your referrals.
I love that.
Right? And then it says, because the sauce is the boss, because it's Jimmy John's. But it also says, post this on social media and tag me. on Instagram or Facebook for a chance to win a pair of Yeti tumblers. So my hope is that they'll spread the word, and it's just about exposure, right? But so I'm driving around, dropping them off. It ended up with the bag and everything costing like $3 a piece or something like that. But it's one of those just little high value touches. It's a surprise, like, oh, how cute is this? Right? And that goes back to the conversation and what we started this whole thing with today, which is you need to differentiate yourself and you need to be on, top of mind, because there's a ton of agents out there because the market's been great trying to get licensed, but you need to be the one that your people know is hustling and who is being professional about their job. And right, this is your work, this is your career, and they need to know that. I have friends and that we all know other agents, and I was thinking about this today when I was dropping these things off. There's someone, we have mutual friends that are agents, but this other person is traveling all over the country with their kid on summer camps, right, for sports and clubs, which is cool for them if they want to do that. And it's exciting and the pictures and everything are great. But I wonder to myself if this particular person in my sphere thinks to themselves, yeah, but so-and-so's never in town. I'm going to refer it to Sharon instead because she's in town and she's working. So-and-so's gone 3 weeks a month, right? Don't assume that just because people know you and a couple of other agents, they might pick someone else.
And let's be honest with ourselves. The people that are in your database all aren't created equal. Go back to what I said earlier. My number one referrer isn't even a past client. Do you think that she's included whenever I do a pop by or a special thing? She's on my VIP list, right? And if you can start having some clarity in terms of that list, that second column of the exercise we did, who are those people, right? They better be on that list.
Most of the people, most of the 100, I have never done work with, and they haven't referred anybody to me either. But I'm priming that pump because I want it to happen, right? I want it to happen in the future. And so I need to know that I left it all out there and that I tried my best.
Question.
So what, okay, never mind.
Doug wants a question real quick. Speak up.
So for us newer agents that don't have a lot of previous business or previous referrals or stuff like that, right? I mean, obviously I've worked with a couple of people that are no longer searching. And do you still consider them even if you don't think that they're really, in other words, I spent like 4 months with this guy and then showed him probably 70 houses. And then he turned around and said, well, I'm not ready to buy anymore, and then just left. Do you still consider him as part of your top 100 or part of your VIP?
I don't know
or
that
at what point do you kind of?
I don't know that he'd be a VIP, but I would definitely keep him on emails and texts.
Let me ask you this.
Every now and then.
Do you think he's ever going to buy or sell a house?
I don't know. My wife told me I should have gave him up a long time ago, but my point is I've invested so much into him.
Yeah,
I don't want
someday he's
to.
gonna do
So
it.
why did he
But-
stop, right?
Because he's too picky and he
Okay.
doesn't want.
So, but does this guy have faith in what you do?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
if you call me-
So again, going back to my point, even if he never buys or sells a house, does he have the ability to refer someone who would? This is what it's all about, guys. Don't just reward the person that closes the business, right? Like, make sure you are showing gratitude and rewarding, even with a box of Girl Scout cookies like I did last fall, people that have supported your business. Tammy, and then I think Terry raised her hand.
In reply to Doug, I would just say, listen to what Leisha says every time we ask her where she gets her business. Oh, it was from a long time ago when I was talking to so-and-so and so-and-so talked to somebody, and then all of a sudden I have all this business. So I would say definitely keep pursuing it. They always say the hardest part is getting the lead. Working it is the fun part.
I'm sorry, before Terry, Andrea or Hope, did one of you we're asking?
It was
this?
me. I was just trying to clarify because in my mind, I mix up source with how, right? So source is referral and spear. The how, I guess, is the vehicle, which is social media. So I shouldn't mix them because I've had people who just contacted me out of nowhere from social media, and I'm having a hard time figuring out where do I classify those people that I don't know from social media.
Okay, so I totally understand what you're saying, but remember when you say out of nowhere, I know it may feel like that. I know I get phone calls out of nowhere, but it came from somewhere. And what I mean by that is if it came from you posting things on social media,
Right.
know that, so you keep doing it, right? It's like you're putting the lure out there and you're just trying to figure out what lure works. And when someone bites, know that there's probably other fish in that pond that'll bite. You just got to keep putting that lure out there. And that's why things like social media and consistent mailers and some things take much more time. They're not a direct, you do this, then you get this. Like make a phone call, ask for a referral, they give you one. It doesn't always work like that. Terry, what did you have to add?
So I was kind of going to ask along the lines of the gratitude, but it kind of was answered, like, because I had a referral from my sphere, and basically I immediately wrote them a handwritten thank you note, but I didn't know, like, does anybody do anything more than that once you receive that referral, or is that, is that something that's sufficient, at least for now, until we have more business going?
Sure. Tammy, you got a response to that?
So Terry, I went ahead, I listened to some Rivers guide that really inspired me on taking, when you get those referrals, you want to get more. So positive reinforcement right away. So I went on Costco and ordered some mugs, and they're really funny because I even put my picture on them, and it just said, referrals are the sweetest, or something generic like that. And then I fill them with snack size candy, and I try to take it to them personally immediately, and then I post about it because I want more. So
right.
And the mugs, I think they were really nominally, and most people keep their mugs, sitting around on their counters for years and years. So I'm hoping that it'll be that presence of mind every time they open their cabinet and they like, I can't fit any more coffee mugs. The stupid Tammy face is in my face every day. Maybe one day they'll throw it out, but maybe not.
I completely recognize the fact that you guys, many of you are trying to be very cost conscious with your business. As am I. I mean, I want to make sure that I'm not spending money unnecessarily. So I don't want you to feel that you need to just throw money at things. Sometimes as simple as, for instance, while I was on vacation, I got a text message from a past client and friend who said, hey, my buddy's going to be calling you. I gave him your number. They're looking to potentially buy and sell, blah, 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 blah. Thanks so much, Dave. Appreciate it. Really appreciate you. And then he did. This person did. They reached out to me. We set a time to meet. And then I texted Dave, who had referred me, and I said, Dave, thanks again so much. I made a time to meet with Matt and his wife. Again, really appreciate it. Right. And then I met with them. And later on, I text Dave again and say, hey, met with Matt and his wife, Jessica. They're awesome. I really, again, appreciate you referring me. I think I'm going to be able to help them, with their real estate needs, right? So these are 3 touches that I did to this person who referred me, right? And if I go, I'm not going to update him every week. He doesn't really care. But if I get under contract or close on a home, I'm certainly going to then send him something nice. I'm going to give him a shout out on social media when I close on that deal. I'm going to, Dave McFarland does a good job of this, right? When he posts a closing, congratulations. But, again, it doesn't have to be all the way to the closing. You could send someone, just a note, just a thank you, just appreciating the fact that they thought of you. And that's what you're rewarding. You're not rewarding they have to close and then I'll buy you something. It's just, I really appreciate it, right? Because quite honestly, someone might have to refer you 3 people before there's one closing. But if you got all the people in your database to refer you 3 people a year, you wouldn't have to do any other sort of lead gen. And that's the point with this, guys, is how do you make sure that you're really ingrained with the people that know you, that trust you, that you like you? How do you ensure that they know that you not only need but appreciate their support, their referrals, right? And that they continue to come. So that if another tech company or another real estate agent that they meet at an open house comes in the way, you have that relationship so ingrained with them that you don't have to worry about them cutting you out or calling someone else.
Hey, Matt, Sharon.
And it starts with clarity.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I want to say thank you for this, because I learned a lesson today. I was in my head a while ago complaining that I wasn't getting any business from my sphere. I reached out, nobody was calling, and I wasn't getting anything. So you made me do this exercise today, and I realized that even though my numbers aren't large, 5% of the contacts, of the showings, of the, hey, I want to buy real estate, 5% of that came from the sphere I was complaining about. So with that realization and everything that you all just got through saying, this is kind of like turned a light bulb on and flipped a switch on with me with regard to looking at my source of leads, taking care of my VIPs, making sure that I'm touching everybody that's in my database. You've made me see this a whole lot differently, and I want to thank you for this exercise. It was very beneficial. Thank you.
That was the purpose. Appreciate that, Anya. Anyone else have any sort of ahas or any action items that they're taking from this?
Focus more on my sphere as well, because my energy goes into social media, but a lot of my sphere is out there, but some of them are not. So I've got to expand and focus on those that are not as well.
And I just want to remind everyone, and I think you're going to see this probably as a common thread with a lot of you, is that you have a lot more opportunity in the sphere, but also if you can see on there 10%, 15% open house, what is your plan for open houses? Because I'll tell you what, guys, right now I'm seeing houses not in all areas, not in all price points, but sitting on the market a little bit longer, right? Things are a little bit safer. People, you go out, you travel a little bit. It's like COVID's not a thing anymore. If you've gotten success from open houses before, how do you get more of it, right? And if you don't want to, you've got to fill that time with something else, right? So you better be door knocking, you better be doing this, that, right? But if you don't know where these opportunities are coming from, you're just going to, every day, you're going to be sitting down saying, what do I lead gen today, right? And that's not an effective use of your time. Anyone else? Does anyone else have an aha or a takeaway?
I was just surprised where they came.
I've got something I'd like to add just about staying in contact with your sphere of influence. So one thing that I heard back at my old office when I still worked at Coldwell Banker, they were real big on sphere of influence. And one of the terms they would always use is staying in flow with your sphere of influence. And I don't know if you guys kind of just intuitively know what they mean by being in flow with someone, but think about all the people you know, and think about the people that you talk to on a regular basis, where when you think of them, you don't have to ask yourself, oh, I wonder what they're doing. I haven't talked to them in a few months. No, it's, people that you talk to on, maybe a weekly or a monthly basis. And, you do maybe like a phone call with them, twice a month, and then you got them on your monthly email, and then you send them a card around their birthday and holidays, and they're always in contact with you. So you're going to, as soon as something real estate related comes up, you're already going to know about it. So, it gives you a chance to get ahead of the curve, so you don't end up like you were saying earlier, like an ambulance chaser.
I don't know if everyone heard Megan, but Megan said, I was really surprised when I wrote down this list of the sources of all the people that I've been working with. That was an interesting aha.
We keep saying it. Anything from our sphere. We actually have 42%. 26, but still.
So then the question that Tammy's aha was, have you really been putting a lot of effort into that?
No. Not at all.
What could
So
happen if you did?
we ended up, we typically, and this goes back to my Zillow story, we put the most amount of time and money in the things that give us the lowest return.
Mhm.
Like, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Michelle, you got your hand up.
Yeah, it's a little off subject. I was gonna just let you know that I had something to ask before we got off the call.
Oh, I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
this is a proper time to wrap this up. If you guys gotta go. If not, I'm happy to stay on. What's up, Michelle?
Well, I just had a scenario if anybody wanted to stick around and talk about it. I have a buyer and we found a house that they like, but it's coming soon and their first showing is on Sunday. And I was trying to do some preparation for that walkthrough. And I'm finding that their asking price is significantly higher than any comp in that neighborhood. And I'm concerned because they're really gung ho on this house, even without seeing it yet. And I'm worried about the whole appraisal as we were, I'm just concerned that if we submit an offer, it's going to be below what they're asking. They're asking 400,000 for it, and I can't find anything to support it above 360. So I guess I'm kind of curious to know how you would approach this if your buyers wanted to submit an offer, and I'm trying to go back to them and being like, okay, they're really excited about this house. Are they willing to, as far as me, I got to make sure that I'm representing them in the best way, in the best light. And I don't want them to overpay for something, but I know this market's crazy, but I also know it's shifting. And if it's not going to come back and appraise at the list price, I can give an appraisal guarantee. But my question is do I start at asking price and know that the seller may have to renegotiate when it comes back in significantly lower than what he's asking for it?
So let's talk about this for a second. And this is part, in my opinion, part of the reason some houses are sitting a little bit longer is because sellers have been wanting to push the limits a bit on list price. And buyers have been basically conditioned to expect a house to go for at or above ask. And doesn't mean that's worth it. However, if a house comes on the market day one and it's priced higher than the buyer is comfortable paying, buyers right now are typically not writing below asking price offers. They're just passing on that house or keeping an eye on it to see what happens, right? So from a buyer standpoint, I want to look at a house and I would say, listen, I can afford 400, but that's not the point. Is it worth 400? Exactly. Now, we all know something's worth what someone else is willing to pay. However, I understand, Michelle, you looking out for your client and not wanting to get them in a sticky situation. Now, if you write an offer that's listed at 400, you write an offer for 400, but you don't have an appraisal guarantee and appraises for less, maybe there's an opportunity to renegotiate. Now, the seller doesn't have to come down, the buyer doesn't have to come up. And if the whole deal goes south, you're out 30 days plus money for inspections and whatnot. So I understand the hesitancy there. What I might do, and I'll open it up to a few people. What I might do though is, because you have some time, reach out to the listing and just say, my client's very excited to see this home. They've asked me to do some research in preparation of viewing it. It looks like a great property. Can you help me understand how you can do this price? And that's I think a polite way of being like, I can't find any comps, right? Where the hell did this number come from? And the crazy part is that some of these, because we're in an accelerating market and a lot of different price points, some of these are breaking records, right? A house may sell and appraise at 400 when nothing else is sold above 360. It's happened to me. My most recent listing, I was dumbfounded. Right? So you can't be so negative as to think it'll never happen. You do have to provide the what if scenarios to your client. But I would start by asking the listing agent if he knows something that you don't know. Perhaps they come back and say, Michelle, I know we're priced really high. This house is just a cupcake and my sellers just wanted to price it high. Maybe they'll say, yeah, we know we're pricing it high, but the sellers will, they're willing to negotiate. or they're realistic if it appraises low, or something like that. You never know unless you pick up the phone and have that conversation.
Okay.
Who else has something to maybe add or a strategy to approach it with?
I do the same thing. I have actually called the other agent, just like you said, Matt.
Yep.
But I also explained to my client that don't look at the price as the price. You got to look at it. What's it worth to you? I mean, do you really want to spend over asking price or overvalued price for the house? And if you do, then just be prepared. And if it does come under value from an appraisal standpoint, understand that the seller still may want to renegotiate. And do you want to get in that type of a battle for that house? Does it really mean that much to you? And if it does, then I move forward.
Let's put yourselves in the shoes of a seller. You know, you have a property, our agent's done a good job of pre-marketing. You get 10 showings over the weekend, or 5 showings, doesn't really matter. You get showing, you get one offer that's 20 grand below. What do you think what do you think the seller's thinking? Do you think the seller's thinking, well, that must be just what it's worth, we didn't get any other offers? Or do you think a seller might think, well, we got an offer, it's low, but we got 5 showings, and you know, maybe we're priced high, but let's see what happens over the next few weeks. In my experience, it's very challenging for a seller to accept a price below ask the first weekend they're on the market, even if their agent tells them they're smoking crack. Because an offer is a good offer. I don't care what what amount, it's an offer. And it gives them the opportunity, well, I can get them up, or I can counter, or something. What I think would be more strategic, Michelle, is you having that conversation with the agent, making sure your buyer can qualify, write an offer for full price, no appraisal guarantee or a modest one, and then seeing what happens when the appraisal rolls out. I know I don't want to say, it's under the similar lines, like, oh, let's give them what they're asking, then beat them up their appraisal or inspection. I don't want you to have that mentality, but at the end of the day, will your buyer be comfortable paying $400 if it appraises?
Yes.
That's not your call, that's your call, right?
Right. I guess I was just trying to make sure that I represented my client in the best light. And I had reached out to the listing agent and asked them, some of the couple questions, what's important to the seller and things like that. But I should have asked the price question. So I'll probably go back to him and definitely do that. So thank you.
Yeah.
So Matt, I have a question.
Sure.
Why wouldn't you submit the offer with an appraisal guarantee since the buyer wants to go so hot? Since the seller is asking for 100, but there aren't comps to support it, why would you encourage the buyer to make their offer at asking without an appraisal guarantee?
In my opinion, and this is only my opinion, I'm curious if Sharon would agree or not. As a listing agent, I always list a price where I feel that it would appraise. So if I get a full price offer at my list price, unless I have multiple offers and I'm differentiating them, I'm not necessarily going to expect an appraisal guarantee at the list price, the price that I've set out there. Now, if I have multiple offers or if it's being bid up, that's where I'm going to look for an appraisal guarantee, because I want a surety that we're still under any circumstance going to get what we initially priced it as. If I'm a listing agent, I price the property at 4 because I've looked at comps and I think it's gonna, it's good at 4, and I get a full price clean offer. I mean, what more of the sellers need or want? Now, it's not until there's multiple offers where people then bid it up where I would want or expect a guarantee.
I would say, I agree with you 100%. At the same time, we know that there are agents that are listing it for whatever the sellers want, because all they're trying to do is list the house.
Yep.
Right?
That's what I'm worried about right there. Yeah.
And this market's been weird. I think it's cooled off a little, but a couple months ago, there were things that you could ask for more than any comp, and they were appraising. So we were kind of in a little like, let's see if it sticks kind of place.
Yeah.
Right? But I think, Michelle, something that's good about you is you come from a place that's really caring, right? And so you want to look out for your buyer and you want, like you said, represent them in the best way and this, that. I paid attention to a lot of your language when you were describing the situation. And you were using a lot of like, what kind of offer am I gonna write? Do I have to go back and renegotiate? You know, things like that. It's hard, but try to like switch your mindset that it's them, right? It's them, it's their money. If you're honest with them, like what Doug was saying, put all the cards out on the table. These are all the comps. This is everything I'm seeing. Let them go in with eyes wide open. And if they want to do an appraisal guarantee that might suck up $60,000, that's on them. You know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah, no, I get it. Thank you.
I'll tell you a short story. I had a listing about a month ago. We priced it at $459. I had 2 offers in the first few days for $450. So $9,000 was below ask. Our counter to both of them was full price. And our sellers did start to think, wow, did we price it too high? Is anyone willing to pay ask? And either one of those people, if they would have come up then to ask, we would have locked it up right away. Neither party wanted to. Day 4 or 5, we got an offer for $475. Accepted $475 and it appraised for $475. So if one of those 2 people that previously had looked on it was willing to come up only $9,000, they would have gotten the house. And I'm not certain the situation of yours, Michelle, but my point is that we were realistic about price, but we thought so early on, doesn't make sense to take it off the market until it's at least been a week or 2 where we're assuring that we're not going to get what we're looking for. But again, we were realistic. So I don't know. I would study the comps. I would ask that conversation to the list agent. I would try to be a team. My buyer wants this house. Your seller wants to sell. We're just looking out because my buyers have said, what do you think about price? I'm having a hard time comping it. How did you come up with your list price? Let's come together. Hey, Mr. Agent, if we were to put your full price offer, is your seller willing to lock this up in a quick fashion, right? Or do they have unrealistic expectations about multiple offers? No, they would like to lock it up. Awesome. What if it appraises low? Well, we'll see what happens then. All right. Or, well, nope, they're going to want a full guarantee. Okay, red flag. Or, well, they know that it's got to appraise and it's going to appraise what it's going to appraise for. Okay. All of those answers are different paths that you can potentially take. But at the end of the day, it's your buyer's decision. Your job is to educate them of all the scenarios, the what ifs, but it's your buyer's decision.
Okay. Yeah, no, I appreciate the input. So thank you.
Yeah.
Can I add something on this subject?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love what you said earlier, Matt, about giving the offer either with a modest appraisal guarantee or no appraisal guarantee at all, but still right at full asking price. And the way I would present that to the seller's agent is I'd call them up just before you're about to submit the offer and say, hey, my buyers, they really like the house. They really want it. And I want to see what it's going to take to make this deal work out. They're willing to write an offer for $400,000 asking price. And we're even willing to do an appraisal guarantee. However, our concern is that the home might only appraise for $360,000 based on the comps. And the most we can do in an appraisal guarantee is $10,000 or whatever it is they're offering. Now, give them the impression of, hey, we're not trying to write a full price offer, then negotiate down, but we're willing to pay full price if it appraises for that, but we're concerned it might not. And obviously, paying that extra $40,000 is a lot easier to finance than it is to bring $40,000 cash to closing. So just so the seller's agent is aware of that. So if it does appraise lower, they don't think you're trying to pull a fast one on them and, write a full price offer without the intention of paying full price.
Absolutely, Carson. You're spot on. And let's not forget, guys, that a listing agent has the opportunity to meet the appraiser at the property. So if a listing agent and a seller is dead set on this house being worth 4, they should have no problem trying to provide their appraiser with some validation of it worth 4.
No, this
So
has been really helpful.
please let us
Yeah.
know how that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I'll keep you posted.
And that's another good point is, maybe there's something you might be missing in the comps. So ask the seller's agent and say, hey, do you see the same thing I'm seeing with the comps, or is there something I'm missing? Because I'm concerned the house might only appraise for 360. Is there maybe some comps I'm missing or some updates to the house I'm not aware of? I'd ask them that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I had an agent, Vita Good. She's with Coldwell Banker. She's going to be listing a property down the street from mine. She said, I saw your pending. Tell me what you pended at. And I was open book with her because it had already appraised and we haven't closed yet. But, with that new knowledge, is that she said that drastically changes what I might list my property for, knowing that, right? So,
yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
No class next Thursday.
Next Thursday is the Tigers game. Hopefully, some of you will be joining us. I think the bus is the bus full or it's sold out. So if you're going, you're going. If not, sorry.
Hey, Sharon.
Yeah.
Can I give you a call right when we get off here, Sharon?
Me? Yeah,
Can I
sure.
give you a call? Okay. All right.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys on Monday. If you have any questions or anything, give us a call.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, guys. Good stuff.